Chairman of our Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee, Mr. McHenry, for 5 minutes.
Thank you for being here today and for your testimony. And, you know, to this question about being a counter-cyclical force, you talk about legacy loans that you're dealing with now as impacting your fund balance. Now, what years are we talking about in particular?
Well, if you look at the chart on page 2 of our testimony, it's very small in
What years?
2001 through 2009.
Okay. So now at that period of time, there was, 3% down payment, no minimum credit scores, a lack of risk-based pricing. Is that correct?
I'm not sure I heard all 3 of those, but yes.
Okay. And what is different now?
So what is different now is...
Do you still have a 3% down payment requirement?
3.5% down payment requirement, and
so that's
10%
similar.
if you're under a 580 FICO score.
Okay, but under 580. So you're making lending to those under 580 for a FICO score?
Today, no. Let me just be clear.
None?
Virtually none.
Virtually none or none?
Virtually none. Let me just, this is a really important point. If you look at the changes we've made in our credit policies, not just down payments, but overall credit policies and the tightening that we've done, a large percentage, 30–40% of our portfolio in the past was lower FICO band scores, and I don't believe a person is the totality of their FICO score.
What's the cutoff for FICO
true.
scores? My time is limited.
Our average FICO score today is
not average. What is the cutoff? If I have a 550 FICO score, can I get an FHA loan? Yes or no?
Yes, only if you meet
yes. So why is that not called subprime?
With compensating factors.
No, I'm asking a question, and now I'm following up with this question. I would appreciate you answering.
Yes.
So if I have a 550 FICO score, that is considered subprime, right?
Again, you would be required to have a 10% down payment.
I understand, but I'm asking a different question than you are in fact answering. And my time is limited. So if I have a 550 FICO score, that is subprime. It's certainly not a prime mortgage.
You can't just take a FICO score and say that's subprime. You have to look at the full
but under QRM, under a qualified residential mortgage and a qualified mortgage requirements, that would not be permissible, not within the box. So let me get to the point here. If we're talking about FHA as a countercyclical force, what in fact we saw in the early part of the 2000s and leading up to the crisis was FHA following the market in racing to the bottom in terms of underwriting standards.
No, that is absolutely
not implicit. Pardon me?
That is absolutely not correct.
Okay, then I ask unanimous consent to offer a Washington Post editorial from July 3rd of this year, going through the very provisions that I'm outlining.
Without objection.
Okay. So can you explain to me, in March of last year, you testified before the Senate Appropriations Committee. You said, thanks to our efforts since taking office, I can say that the long-term outlook of FHA and the MMIF are now much better than they were in 2009. In 2009, the MMIF capital ratio is 0.53%. Today, it's negative 1.44%. And you're drawing over $1.5 billion from the taxpayers. So do you still stand by your statement that FHA's outlook is improving?
I do believe it's improving. Look at each book of business that we've done, 2010, 2011, 2012.
So
look at the
second.
chart
You're saying you're in better shape now than you were in March of 2012.
I'm not saying we're in better shape. I'm saying we are rebuilding our trajectory. Again, I want to go back to these are based on economic changes in the environment.
So is the housing market worse today than it was in March of 2012?
No.
No, it certainly is not. So let me go to another question here. You expected that a capital reserve, in February of this year when you testified before this committee, a capital reserve of $8 billion by the end of 2013. Do you still expect that?
Again, we'll have a new actuarial coming out. It would have been mid-November, but given the shutdown, it'll
Sure. We're sitting at the end of October.
Yes.
And let me just take a gander, just take sort of a guess. if you will, or take a look over the horizon? And do you think you'll be close to that $8 billion you're projecting in February?
I am not going to make an estimate, sir.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Chair now